Hi, this is Mr. Nazarian. Our lesson objective today, I can apply and extend previous understandings of multiplication to multiply a fraction by a whole number. 5th grade standard, numbers and fractions, B4. Here we have 1/2 times 4. Remember I said that you can substitute the word of when you see a multiplication symbol when we're multiplying with fractions. So in this one you could say 1/2 of 4. It gets a little bit awkward if you switch that around. Using the commutative property and say 4 of 1/2, kind of, but that's more like 4 times 1/2. You're having 4 of something. It's 1/2 that you're having. So here, though, we have 1/2 times 1/4. Yesterday we were multiplying fractions by fractions. Now we're going to be multiplying fractions times a whole number. So just like yesterday, we started with a visual representation. We're going to do that today. So here, what I have is, and you can look at this either way. You can say, well, I have 1/2 4 times, right? I have 1/2 of this rectangle, 1/2 of this rectangle again, and again, and again. I have it 4 times, right? Or you could say, well, I have 4, and I have half of each one. Either way, it's the same thing. It looks the same. It is the same. If I look at what I have 1/2 here and 1/2 here. Well, if I put those halves together, I'm going to have 1 whole, right? And then I have a half here and a half here. If I put those halves together, I'm going to have another 1 whole. So obviously, if I put those together, I'm going to get 2, right? So this is going to equal 2, right? So something that I want to show you as far as when you're multiplying fractions and whole numbers, and just when you're looking at whole numbers in general, that of course when we look at a whole number we just see that whole number, right? But if we were to change this whole number to an improper fraction, it would look like this. Okay, it's 4 over 1. So any whole number at all, if you wanted to turn it into a fraction, you would just do a line underneath it, put a 1. This 2, same thing as 2 over 1. So I'm going to erase this real quick here. And just like we've talked about with fractions, you can look them as division, right? This is 1 divided by 2, which gives us 1/2. If you take 1 of something and you divide it into equal parts, you have 1/2, right? So this 4 divided by 1 is what? It's 4, right? So if you think of it this way, if you do it this way, whoops, and you put you make this 4 into 4 over 1, now we're just multiplying fractions and fractions, right? Well, so remember when we're multiplying fractions, we just multiply across on the numerator, multiply across on the denominator, and that'll give us our total, right? Well, what's 4 times 4? I'm going to move this guy over here. 4 times 4, of course, is 4. And what is 2 times 1? 2. Okay, so now I've got 4 halves. Well, now we have an improper fraction. I want to turn that into a whole number, or if it happens to be a mixed number, well, that's great too. What is 4 divided by 2? Guess what? It's 2. So that's the same thing, right? As if we show this visual thing, we can just turn that whole number into an improper fraction by putting a line under it and then a 1 underneath, making it that whole number over 1. And then you just multiply across, just like we did yesterday with multiplying fractions. All right, now I want you to do the same thing here. 3/4 times 8. What would that give us? What is 3/4 of 8? Okay, so I'm going to show the visual representation first. So I have 8 groups of 3/4, right? Or I have 8, and then I have 3/4 of each one. And so if I counted up each of these fourths, I have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4, 5, 6, 4, 7, right, and so on and so on. I'd have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, right? I have 24 fourths. So, oh, whoops. So, if I made this 8 into 8 ones, right? 8 over 1, and I multiply it across, I'd have 3 times 8 is 24, and 4 times 1 is 4, right? But now we have an improper fraction, and they aren't really that nice to work with. They're kind of sloppy, right? So we want to make it a little bit easier to understand what 24/4 is. So I'm just going to change that into either a whole number or a mixed number, right? By saying how many times does 4 go into 24? 24 divided by 4 would give me 6. 6 whole. Okay, so that's our answer. We're going to work more on that tomorrow. See you then.